So I think I started off with a piece of ash for this. It was just something that I had around. Plus, ash is obviously a really good material for handles. It's fairly straightforward. I just turned the original blank from square to round. Now, although this project was a success in terms of, you know, I got the handles at the end of it, I did learn an awful lot. And the first thing was I basically won't try and turn two handles from a piece this size. I didn't really have enough waste on the end. And this happened a lot during the projects. So swap now over to my chuck, 4-jaw chuck, and basically marked where the tenon needed to be for the ferrule and the centre point to get the contour. I'm using a piece of copper pipe, it's 15mm copper pipe, plumber's pipe. So I take the internal measurement and transfer that to the calipers and then cut the tenon. I cut it a little bit oversized to start with, so you can see it's quite tight going on there, and then just taking a little piece off at a time. I got to the point where it basically was a tight fit on there. Another part of the learning curve for this was I use a pipe slice to cut those short pieces, but what it actually does is it kind of gives you a crown effect on the pipe, so it squashes the ends in, which doesn't give you a true measurement for the inside of the diameter. So then I swap over to a 3/8, I think it is, spindle gouge, and then just basically loosen the shape and just finesse it a bit with a round nose scraper. Give it a good sand, make sure it's nice and comfy. There was actually a little square bit left on there, I hadn't turned it round enough, so just redid it, give it a little bit of a sand, and then once that's done I can then turn it round in the chuck. It's a little bit fiddly. I don't really like turning things around in the chuck because I can never seem to get them square and in the same plane. And of course with that tiny little tenon it slips around in the jaws and it really needs a bit of support from the tailstock. I also figured out that once I'd shaped the end of the handle I wouldn't then be able to get it back in the chuck to drill the hole for the file. So before I shaped it, I'll swap over to a Jacob's chuck in the tailstock and then put just a twist bit in there just to drill the hole, just so it's nice and straight and parallel to the axis that it's spinning. Still a little bit tight for the ferrule, but that'll snap on the end. That wasn't really the shape I wanted. I wanted a much tighter radius on the end, but with it flapping around in the chuck like that, I didn't really want to force the issue, so it works. And then just using a de-waxed pale shellac polish. I think I did 5 coats. Just put a coat on, leave it for a few seconds, and then just with the paper towel polish it off and then apply the next one. So tap out all the dust from the hole and then using the knife just to scrape the end away slightly, putting it back in the chuck and trying to use the tailstock to push that ferrule on didn't really work. So now swap over to the second one. It's much the same process, so we'll whiz through this. So turn the ferrule, pick the piece up off the floor, tighten the chuck again, and shape the handle. Now by putting the ferrule on, Not only does it fit, it's a nice tight fit, it gives a nice snug fit in the chuck, so that I can then turn the base end, or the base end. Well, it gives you slightly more snug fit. These aren't really the right jaws for the chuck. I need to get some proper small jaws. So just polishing up the brass. Best way to do that, obviously, with the buffing wheel in the lathe, and then you can see all the rubbish come off there with the black. What actually happened was that black corrosion effectively off the brass transferred straight over to the nice white ash, and rather than sand it all off, I just thought can't be bothered with that, so I just put the shellac on at the end. That's why it looks all dirty with a nice shiny ferrule. So I'm using a copper and rawhide mallet. It's a metalworker's mallet, just to bang the handle onto the tang of the file. So these handles are going to be seen again in upcoming video where I'll be doing some metalworking, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Check me out on social media and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.